Mama said. Mama said. What's up, fantasy people? This is Tyler, Big Turd Ward, and Jason, the lucky bastard youth and Wolt, coming at you live from the West Coast. And this is the Fantasy Football Show. Today's episode, we're going to go over the NFC West. So, 49ers we're going to talk about first because, they were like the best team in the NFL along with the Eagles, but they didn't have that superstar quarterback, to push them through. Plus, it was pretty much an injury to Mr. Irrelevant. Otherwise, they would have been in that game. So, completely different game. All they need is a quarterback. Jason, before we get into all of this and all of these NFC West teams, please tell the public how they can help this show.
Well, they could definitely help us out by subscribing to us, getting some more subscriptions. We're actually doing pretty well, and it's like we're liking it. We're loving it. We like it like that. Just subscribe to us. It go a long way. And if you could also give us a couple likes on our shorts. Those shorts, they are making a big difference. And give us some comments. We love the comments. We love the interaction with you guys. And you can also find us on Instagram, the Fantasy Football and Show.
So shout out Camden Garfield, dude, you're the man. Keep on commenting. I'm sure you don't watch these videos, but
if you I like him.
Subscribe.
I like him.
Yeah, he was just talking about, Shakir, Khalif, Shakir, he came in for McKenzie and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So we can talk about that later, though. Jason, do you have a question from the public to me?
All right. It's time to grill with these questions with the BBQ question of the week.
Barbecue chicken.
Barbecue chicken. This one's coming from TikTok, from our user, My Cadillac is Fast. My Cadillac is fast. And it's a pretty good question, too. So, the barbecue question. Who has a better setup, or who is set up to have a more fantasy impact in year 2? Drake London or Chris Olave?
So, off the top of my head, I was just thinking, I'm pretty sure Arthur Smith is an offensive coach, but, Dennis Allen is the defensive coach for the Saints. But they still threw it quite a bit last year. And Alvin Kamara, who knows what his legal issues are going to be. And I did trade for Chris Olave after Winston had, set some record for air yards. So it's not like they're not wanting to use Olave. Both can be hyper targeted. Derek Carr is in the Saints now, and he hyper targets people, his whole career pretty much. And then Drake London, as soon as Desmond Ridder took over the job there, he was pretty much average, 10 targets a game for the last 6 games or something like that. So no touchdowns with Desmond Ridder. And I think that's going to be a big difference here too is, the Saints have a really good defense. The Falcons do not. The Saints are going to have a lot more opportunities to score. So I would roll with Olave because, man, he just knew how to get open his first year. They are both, first round wide receivers. I'm pretty sure Olave might have been second. But still, the second year leap for the wide receiver as far as fantasy goes is a real deal. So one of these guys, I think both are going to be great picks, but I would lean towards Olave. A lot of it's biased because he did well for me last year, but he has an amazing knack for getting open. He doesn't just rely on his physical tools. So I really like Olave.
And a couple of questions to keep this going is it's weird to say, but I do like Derek Carr as a quarterback.
Big boy.
Yeah, I like him more than Andy Dalton. I still wish it was Jameis Winston who was starting, but they got Derek Carr there, and so with that matchup, I like Chris Olave. And plus, I think when Drake London was getting all those targets, I think because Kyle Pitts didn't finish the year, right?
Yeah, he was injured a lot. But he still came in. He still played with Desmond Ridder, I'm pretty sure. So
okay, I couldn't remember if he he got to a point where he sit out the end of the year, and that's maybe why Drake London got some targets. But obviously the Falcons, Tyler, they're a run first squad. They run the ball a lot. They use all their running backs. So yeah, I would like to agree with you on this one. I think Chris Olave has his setup right now he has a better chance of having a bigger impact in fantasy in his second year.
Yeah, he does have to deal with Michael Thomas, but dude, Michael Thomas hasn't played more than what, like 3 games in like 3 years. So yeah, like Michael
Yeah.
Thomas is a great player, but and he could become like the hyper targeted player for him. But I like Olave so much, dude. Just hard. And you mentioned how much the Saints run the or not, I mean the Falcons run the ball, and that's just ridiculous. So
They are definitely a run first team.
it'd be frustrating watching those games if you owned. Like I'd much rather like watching Chris Olave live. It'd be much better than watching the freaking Falcons run the ball 30 times than chuck one to what's his name, London.
Yeah.
All right, Jason. Shout out to Pat. Patrick Trammell. Hey, dude, thank you so much. You're opening so many windows. If you went to high school with us, what's up?
2000 more or 2004, who could ask for more?
You'll never see me on Facebook or at any of your freaking reunions. The last one was in the back of a Starbucks. How the hell does that work?
Hey, it got moved to the side of the Starbucks.
It's like, we can't afford this.
We met at the drive-through window.
We're making our own coffee on the side. So, Greg, I'm thinking about other things around. Jason.
Greg.
So they, the 49ers, they got the biggest defensive offensive, free agent here. Javon Hargrave was like the main dude, the top defensive free agent, and now like he's a interior defensive lineman for the Eagles, who was getting all the pressure. He only played 64% of snaps with them, and he is 30 years old. But interior defensive linemen that don't rely on their speed that much, hey man, like he's going to go to the best situation with Bosa and all these other fools. So the top defensive line just got even stronger.
Oh my gosh, I know. We talked about this in our free agency video. You said it, and you said it best. He was like the number one defensive lineman going to the number one defensive team. So they're going to be they're going to be more stacked for next year. And like I'm glad that he got out of the NFC East, but it's like he just went to another powerhouse team, and it's just like, oh my gosh, their defense is going to be stacked. It's going to be hard to like get any good fantasy value and like running backs going against them. As of last year, before even Hargrave even joined, San Francisco, they were number 2 in allowing only 82 rushing yards per game. They were behind Tennessee, and now just putting Hargrave there in the middle as a defensive tackle, yeah, they have just boosted up their line that much more, and it's scary. It's scary.
And they did, lose D'Amico Ryans, our defensive coordinator, to the Texans. But still, dude, like, they were shutting people out the second half for like most of the year. It was crazy. So like they might lose a little bit of that shutdown ability in the second half because they're losing their defensive coordinator. But I'm sure like defensive coordinators are lining up to play with Kyle Shanahan, especially after you see like the personnel they have, and they can get a head coaching job afterwards. So I believe in their new defensive coordinator. I should have saw who that was, but I don't know. And I guess, Jason, on the same thing, Jimmy Ward, my brother from another mother.
Yeah.
Well, same dad. Yeah, same guy, keep the same last name. He went to D'Amico Ryans, but dude, he's a 32-year-old safety making, almost $7 million a year. So I think that was a good cut, or good release of the 49ers.
Yeah, and it's kind of I think they're just the Texans are trying to just get more stable, I guess, in that position. Maybe
he's a locker room guy.
Yeah, he's a locker room guy. He's the one that brings in the barbecue chicken and just like grill it up in the locker room, playing slap butt with everybody.
Slap ass? No more?
Yeah, Jimmy Ward is gone. Also, there's like Emmanuel Mosley, the cornerback.
Mosley was a good cornerback, and that's who they lost to the Lions, dude. And that's a huge pickup.
Lions.
Yeah.
Yes, he went to the Lions. We all know the Lions were desperately needing cornerbacks, and they got one from one of the best defensive teams. Looks like also on the defensive end that they lost. Oh my gosh, some names I cannot pronounce. It's ridiculous. Samson Ibukam.
Mm-hmm.
He went to the Colts, and Charles Omenihu. He went to Kansas City. So they did get,
Ibukam.
So yeah, they went to they went and got the number one defensive lineman in free agency, but they did lose some. But I think, and you still got Boza, so that line is still going to be doing some damage. Last year, just so we kind of get an idea, they were 14th in the league, and getting 2.5 sacks a game, and I don't really see that slowing down for next year.
All right. And then last thing on defense was Khalil Farrell. I just know that name because if you watch Hard Knocks every season, do you remember Mike Mayock and John Gruden drafting this Khalil Farrell from Clemson? And he came in with like John Abrams or something like that. Can't remember what his name was.
Yeah,
and he was supposed to be a defensive turnaround dude, a winner, and he was a bust there. I almost guarantee he's going to be pretty decent on this team.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was kind of actually a surprising pickup for me because I don't know why they would pick him. Maybe they're just putting a big body there, to block up some gaps. Only 1 year, $2 million. I don't know. I don't know what you're doing, but you're tripping me out.
There's a dog hair on my ring
Oh,
finger, and it's like
man.
it's stuck in my ring. It's bothering me, dude.
Freaking
It was lingering on my finger, just lingering. So,
linger.
Jason, what did the 49ers need the most last year at the end of the year?
A quarterback.
Ding, 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 ding.
Right, right. So you know what
Did
they
you press the
did?
button?
Yeah. Did you not hear it? It's not working no more. So you know what they went out? They're like, we need a quarterback. So let's not sign Jimmy G. And Garoppolo is now a Raider, which is, I don't even know how I feel about that. Like,
It's like an Alex Smith situation because they're literally going to draft a quarterback. They're looking at every single quarterback. Like the top, they've looked at like the top like 7 or 6 quarterback down to Hendon Hooker. So like I think it's like number 6. I even think Hendon Hooker is like number 2 on their board. So they might end up with Hendon Hooker.
really? Because, I mean, that might work out because they're saying Hooker is going to probably be more of like a second year. He's probably going to start doing well and start playing because,
Yeah, he's the 3rd quarterback on my board.
yeah. Doesn't that feel cool to say?
We're content creators, dude. We have boards. There's a board right here. I think it's got a Bible verse on it, but hey, I can write whatever I want on it.
He has risen. And then, is that what it
Nope.
says? Oh, well, Easter. What is it? Easter this weekend?
I didn't know that until today.
He has risen. Yeah. So what? I don't know. Remember what was going on? Oh yeah.
Okay.
So they could probably get. And he's also 25. He's mature. He's mature. So coming off also ACL injury, Hooker, from Tennessee, there's a good chance they might pick him up. I don't think he's going to be able to start in the beginning of the year. Maybe not even till the end if they are
That's the
out.
Raiders. That's the Raiders, though, Jason. I was
Yeah,
talking about the Raiders. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just talking about Jimmy Garoppolo in general.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, and it's sorry, I guess I just got off track there. I'm my ADHD, man, my ADD. It's going crazy, but
You started giving me all these deadlines. So but you know what? We're all good.
yeah. Yeah, so he's just a Raider. So now they got 2 quarterbacks on their team, right? Or they got 3 because they went and got a USC boy, Sam Darnold, because he played excellent as a Panther.
He's only like 25. He's gonna be 26. He's making like he's making only $4.5 million, dude, which is insane. For like a first overall pick, like 6 years into his career, he's making nothing. I mean, if I made that in 1 year, I'd retire. I'd tell my boss to kick rocks, dude.
Yeah,
With curse words,
with curse words
with S's and D's.
and Q's and O's, man. Get them all. But Sam Darnold, he's kind of just look at the teams they went to. He got drafted by the Jets. No one does good on the Jets. So then he went to the Panthers when they were already in the rebuilding stage. Like, he's had some bad luck. I'm not sure we'll even really see him this year just because he's probably going to be like 3rd quarterback on the depth chart. I think the bigger issue with the 49ers is that they're just going to be dealing with Mr. Irrelevant and Trey Lance. Like, who's going to be the starter between them?
I could not remember that Who's that guy's name, dude? I heard it
Brock
1,000 million. Huh?
Brock Purdy?
Dude, thank you. I was like texting my dad that name a million times. I couldn't even remember his name today. But Jason, the most important re-signing of this team, we talked about Shanahan offenses, pulling guards, all this stuff. This dude played 98% of snaps. Jake Brindle. So, I mean, he's 31 years old, but he's a center. So, like Hutchinson, all these, there's been a lot of centers that have been like Pro Bowlers late in their career. So, this was very important for them to re-sign, and they did.
They had multiple people on their offensive line that was actually in free agency, and they lost one of the best right tackles in the game, and Mike McGlinchey, 5 years, $87 million to the Broncos.
Dude.
They also lost their tackle Daniel Broomskill. This guy's got a crazy broom skill.
Did you see this guy play with his brooms? His broom skill.
His broom skill is off the charts. He's
Harry
great.
Potter.
Harry Potter
throwing stuff up in the air, being like, "Where's that golden ball?" I have no idea. This guy's got too good at broom skills.
Expecto Patronum. Yeah. So, but good for them. Good for the Niners to keep Brindle, because you said it right, like Kyle Shanahan, Tyler, like they're all about pulling. Their run game is usually ridiculous and it involves a lot with the offensive line. He's big on the offensive line, so luckily they were able to keep their center.
Simple reads for running backs, but complicated for the offensive linemen. I mean, dude, Trent Williams is like a Hall of Fame offensive lineman just because he does this crazy, pulling all the way to the other side when he plays for the Shanahan offenses. So,
yeah. Tyler, what'd you say for many years that George Kittle, he had to learn how to block before he could get in the passing game. So he's involved in the blocking scheme too as well. He tries to
he had to learn how to block before he could fly. No, he had to learn how to walk before he could fly. And now he's soaring up there with the best of them.
You make it seem like he died.
Oh, he died?
No, you made it seem like he died. He has risen. But you were like,
it's going to be from a leg lock, a scorpion. He's going to break his back from a scorpion, like wrestling in the WWC. Yeah.
The people's elbow, the rock bottom, the Stone Cold.
I think I said the WWC.
WWC. World Women's Champion.
I'm all about that NWO, man. Oh, brother. Yeah.
Wolfpack. I was about that Wolfpack.
Woo!
Yeah. Yeah. 2 words for you.
Suck it. The one time I went and watched a professional wrestling show, I had people telling me to suck it in thongs, man. I was like, what am I watching here, dude?
I grew up very confused. With this. I was like, Daddy, this doesn't make sense in health class.
Anybody else you want to talk about, Jason?
Oh, let me go to my list. I think that's pretty much it. I think we pretty much covered most of it. Some people just want to give some honorable mentions right now before we go to the beat writers, is that Robbie Gould, their kicker, he was like, I'm going to test free agency because I got a boot on me. Yeah, he's 40 years old. He hasn't signed with anybody. Tyler, your cousin Tyler Croft, he is in free agency right now, or he is in limbo. They got Josh Johnson for the playoffs, and they haven't signed him back. And I can't tell if that's anyone else, but those were the 3 people I kind of wanted to bring up, and just they're in limbo right now. No, they're not signed to anybody's team, but I'm pretty sure at least Robbie Gould will get signed, but somebody before the season starts.
So, Jason, getting into what the beat writers are saying down here on NinerNoise.com, we went, what was that? The Finn Cider and the Buffalo Down.
That was cool. That was cool.
Now we had the Niner Noise. Niner. I don't even know what Niner Noise is.
What Niner Noise? I don't know what it is.
All right. This is like turning into a prop show. So, Jason.
Yeah.
Defensive backfield, they got rid of, they lost Mosley. They actually went out in free agency, picked up Travarius Ward, my other brother from another mother. My dad's kind of a busy man. And that worked out well, dude. I mean, how many times have we talked about Travarius Ward during the season? Like quite a bit.
You mean they re-signed him?
Oh my God, did they?
Yeah, he was a Niner, right?
Oh,
Like, yeah,
yeah,
he was.
but was he on our free agent list?
I didn't have him on there. He's the one
No,
that
they
was.
said that he spent. I said that they signed him last season as a free agent, and it's worked out well.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said this year.
Oh, you tripped me out, dude. I was like,
I'm
what the
sorry.
hell did
You're
I just
tripping
read?
me
I
out.
read this. I just read this.
You make me drink.
Where's my beer? This is
Where's my
beer time
beer?
breakdown, by the way.
Yeah.
805. You want to sponsor me? All you gotta do is give me 5 cents per can I drink.
It's not. That's a bad deal, Tyler. Well,
That's how much these things are worth, dude. Unless I go to Minnesota and I get 10 cents.
I want to get a. I want to make a profit.
Speaking of profits,
Profits.
listen to us because we're not lost. Remember the
Lost
lost?
profits.
That guy was like a pedophile or something. Turned out terrible.
Wasn't that a Christian band?
No, the Lost Prophets, dude.
Yeah.
So we sang if we're going nowhere. So we sang. You remember that?
Yeah, they're not
That
Christian.
really, dude. That was like on that old punk pop channel called Fuse.
Oh,
Anyways,
I loved Fuse.
we'll talk about that later. So, anyways, yeah. So they're talking about how they just need some depth at the position. I mean, Jimmy Ward, he hit free agency and left to the Texans. Mosley went to the Lions. This is like, they want to keep this defense going. They're already getting pressure on the quarterback, so the back end is kind of important. So there you go, Jason. Number 2, Jason, the defensive line. And this is written before they signed Hargrave, who was like the top signing. So
yeah.
Nick Bosa led the NFL with sacks last season with 19 and a half. I didn't realize I knew he led the NFL. I didn't know he had 19 and a half. That's amazing. And
yeah,
so
was that like 3 away from the record?
Dude, I think it yeah, when I remember that one, Michael Strahan and Brett Favre.
Yeah. Favorite Strahan on that last sack.
Go favor yourself, Brett Favre.
Yeah.
In the bedroom.
Allegedly.
With yourself. Allegedly, Drake Jackson, which was like getting much late in the year. He was a rookie pass rusher last year. They tried to pair him with Ibaka. Did you say they re-signed Ibaka or they lost him?
I don't see it anywhere.
You just said we had to say his damn name. I got rid of the list because those
he went to the Colts. Sorry, I did not know that's how you said that name.
And then Eric Armstead, he was injured last season, so they just need more depth. Nick Bosa's been their constant,
Mm-hmm.
So they went out and got Hargrave, which addresses that, but they could still draft. This is a very good draft for the edge rushers. They need to do that, and they need to do that now.
Yeah, there's a few of them. I don't know if they're going to be able to get any of the top, like Will Anderson, but there's some defense they could go after. I mean, I would say they need to go after a quarterback, but they already got 2 young ones. Like, there's no chance they go after a quarterback, so they're going to have to probably stick with like the defense and offensive line because they're good with wide receivers, they're good tight end, they got a good running back, of course. They got 5, I think, on their team, but yeah.
So, Jason, next up, you just said it. Offensive line. My wife likes to draw. This is her hand that she uses for like perspective. I have no idea.
Oh,
she said it in a flipping off thing, and I grabbed it. 49ers offseason, they need offensive line, so they lost. That tackle. If you lose a tackle to Sean Payton, it's probably because he's good. So they need to replace him, and yeah. So, anyways, it's just all about keeping up with everybody else in the league. And they need to, just keep their quarterbacks. I mean, it's like keeping your quarterback healthy starts with your offensive line. So Brock Purdy was able to move around the pocket, make some throws on the run. He was actually pretty mobile.
Time to go mobile.
And then
But yeah, offensive line is very important to Kyle Shanahan. We mentioned it before. They need it for the running scheme, and they're gonna, with the division with Seattle on the up and up, they're gonna have to really replace offensive linemen that they lost in his free agency, including right tackle Mike McGlinchey. Yeah, tubular.
Hang
Tubular.
loose, dude.
Oh,
So, Jason, I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. Coming up, we're going to be talking about Jason. Who's next? Actually, who came in second?
Seattle.
I was going to say it was Seattle because they made the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So coming up in 1 second, after you hear some cool stuff, see Jason now without our shirt off. Hey, it usually takes a doctor to see us without our shirt off. We were going to talk about, I was just about to say Justin Herbert, but no, we're talking about Geno Smith, and possibly I'm going to talk about a quarterback who they're talking about drafting to replace him.
All
Come
right.
back in 1 second.
I take a shower in the dark.
We back, people. We back, and we're talking football. Beer time breakdown, man. I'm on my fourth beer. I mean, they're tall cans, so I gotta gauge. I count, Jason. I count. You know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
Oh, it was when It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Charlie, they were selling gas. They're like, how much
okay.
you do it? He's like, well, just count. I count.
Season 9 of Always Sunny is actually is like a classic season. It's really good. I just
Name one
like
episode.
that's the one where Frank gets stuck in the coil.
Oh yeah, and he's like giving big business. He's like advice.
And then there's Mac Day, or big country, or Country Mac comes in and he just jumping off bridges.
Anyways,
yeah.
Hey, I didn't like it. Like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia at first, and then I watched it when I was getting my haircut once, which is never, and I liked it. So hey, check it out. They drink a lot too. I mean, if you're watching this, you must not have a problem with alcohol. It just lines up. We only drink on Fridays, but these are the only shows that we're doing right now. So we're not alcoholics. This is just how it's working out.
Mm-hmm. We're in denial. And one of the
I know.
Always Sunny is the quarantine one where they thought they were getting the flu, where they were messing up because they got
They hadn't drank enough alcohol.
Oh, yeah, they got alcohol withdrawals. And Frank is all, just want to be pure. Anyway.
So we spoke about the 49ers. They won the division last season. They're going to win it again this season. But let's talk about a team that almost, and they were threatening. I think they might have been leading the division for a little while. Huge surprise. Thank God, because I really do not like Russell Wilson. I mean, I didn't have a problem with Russell Wilson. I never really liked him, except for his rookie year because I drafted him, I think. Because all I heard was Pete Carroll likes his backup or whatever. But then, yeah, dude, Russell Wilson turned into a giant DB this season. Like literally, dude. He's got his office upstairs, all this crazy stuff. So watching the Seahawks win this season was amazing, especially the quarterback breaking Russell Wilson records, Jason. So
they were definitely one of the teams with the big surprises this year, because even before the season started, Tyler, we were talking about how we're not going to get players from Seattle. We're not going to get the wide receivers. We're not going to get the quarterback. I was more like, we're going to get Penny because they're going to have to rely on the run. Yeah, that was a complete 180, and they were one of the most. They were a team that had a lot of fantasy factor players on their team this year. A lot of people did own. Metcalf was still relevant. Lockett was relevant.
You got great values out of Metcalf and Lockett, dude.
Yeah, Geno Smith, and then that rookie, Kenneth Skywalker, the third. Yeah, they had some fantasy players on their team that I know that people had, especially probably going into the playoffs or the championship.
Huh?
I
do want to say that I think Kenneth Walker's going in the second round right now, or maybe third. I want to say he's going in the second round before Chubb. It's probably third round. Chubb is falling to late second round right now. By the way, guys, you can do a mock draft on ESPN now. So I've been doing mock drafts. So I'm going to start talking about that kind of stuff, which sucks for Jason because he hates me. because he's like, Tyler, why are you doing mock drafts? It's only I usually do it in March, but for some reason it was like running late this year.
I know. Oh man, it's like we still have like 4.5 months before the first NFL season game. So
Right. Well,
a little early for me, but for the show, Tyler, you should definitely do some mock drafts for the
hell
show.
yeah. Well, hell yeah, dude. Okay, first off, Jason, big deal. So Bobby Wagner like made his own contract. He played 99% of snaps for the Rams. And guess what, dude? The Rams were terrible at defense. So I don't know if it's like the system or what, but Bobby Wagner, he's 33 years old. I mean, I wish I was 33 years old, but still, dude, playing defense in the NFL, that's pretty old. So this is a young, upcoming defense. He's not really replacing anybody. I think. I mean, I can't think of a. I don't know if their inside linebackers played that great. I know their corners and their safeties played great for being rookies last year. So this is just adding to a young, ascending defense.
Yeah, their defense is on the rise, right? You said it best. They have a young defense, and one of the corners, for some reason, I wish I could remember his name. He was one of the better offensive cornerbacks this year. Oh my gosh, I wish I could remember his name, but he played very well. Yes, Bobby Wagner. They signed him back. He's all, "Mama, I'm coming." But the thing is, Tyler, they also signed your other homeboy, Devin Bush, from the Steelers, and he's a little bit younger by 8 years.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait to see Devin Bush play next to Bobby Wagner. Devin Bush, man, his rookie season was his best season. I'm a big Rich Eisen fan, so like he's a Michigan State guy, or not Michigan State, he's a Michigan guy. So was Devin Bush. Devin Bush was amazing for Michigan. He came out, killed it for the Steelers. And you know how the Steelers value their linebackers, so it's kind of scary to get a linebacker, a young linebacker from the Steelers that's going to make a bunch of money. Because like if anybody's going to hold on to a linebacker, it's going to be the Steelers.
Well, he dealt with injuries, Tyler, and I don't think the Steelers really wanted to pay for.
Dude, yeah, and I mean, I need to see like the training room or how. I think I've always heard of Seattle being really good with injury. You know, their medical staff being really good, or whatever. So maybe they believe that their guys can bring him back to what he should be, and if so, he's only making $3 million. I mean, he got injured before his rookie deal got. He never got a second contract, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So he's very affordable right now. That could be a huge signing for them, Jason.
It could be a tremendous extravaganza, enlargement, grande, huge signing for them. He has a very good potential to do well in this system, and we'll see. If he plays way everyone thought he was going to be playing when he got drafted, this guy. I mean, watch out for this defense. They in the free agency, they definitely targeted the defensive side. They got Draymond Jones, defensive end from Denver, 26 years old. They got Julian Love, free safety from the Giants, 24 years old. Jarwin Reed, another defensive end, 30 years old, from Green Bay. Then they went out and got Bobby Wagner. They went on and got Devin Bush. Yeah, they were definitely trying to pick people on that defensive line, on the defensive side of the ball, to help them get back to Legion of Boom.
And also, Jason, remember I was talking about Jonathan Abram earlier playing with Khalil Ferrell or whatever?
Yeah.
Dude, so he actually signed with the Seahawks at some point because Jamal Adams is their like amazing safety. Dude, Jonathan Abram, I thought was gonna be so good, man. When you watch that Hard Knocks, it just makes you fall in love with him.
I hated him.
Dude, he's like, I just want to hit somebody. I want to hit somebody. All I want to do is hit somebody. And then, man, he was hitting people. Like, he was pretty amazing.
Wasn't he from? He was from Alabama, I think.
Yeah, I think he was. He was a safety
Yeah.
there. And, but yeah,
he was very cocky. He was very cocky. I remember that.
He's not good, dude. He can't play defense in the NFL. Pretty much. He's just going from team to team now. If you can't play they needed a safety in Seattle last year, and he's playing behind rookies. So, and then,
they go and get rid of him, Tyler. He went to the Saints. Sorry, go on.
No, and the Saints are a defensive team as well. So maybe the Saints can do something with him. I saw this Al Woods on here, dude. I love Al Woods. This guy is like 400 pounds, man. I swear, this guy's like the biggest dude in the NFL, and I always watch him. He plays amazing. He was like 36 years old, and everybody's talking about how like he must have got injured. He only played 31% of snaps, but all the Seattle Seahawks games I watched, that fool dominated, man. So nobody's re-signed him. If I was a team looking for somebody to stop the run, I'd try to get Al Woods and hope he has a healthy season.
Yeah, he's an honorable mention. He's like in limbo right now.
I know, man. I just love that guy.
Yeah. On the other side, Tyler, they lost their running back Rashad Penning. He went to the Eagles, which could be a huge fantasy football factor.
But he was averaging like 6 yards a carry, dude, before he went.
Right.
Before he went down, I should say.
Once again, this is a guy who struggles with injuries. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to take a chance on him, and Seattle, I believe, are putting their trust in Kenneth Walker because also Seattle lost Travis Homer Simpson to the Bears.
So I don't, man, like I said, Kenneth Walker is like, dude, he's going so high right now, which is great because I love Kenneth Walker. I mean, if you watch him play, you're like, why not? But they talked about his history of his ankles, which is like, if you're a running back, it's like the last thing you want with a history of injury with. But dude, I guarantee they're gonna draft. I need to see who they're gonna draft in this running back class because there's a lot of good running backs here. They're gonna fall to like second, third round, man. Like amazing starting running backs.
Oh,
so we need to see what's going on there.
I've been reading some stuff that there is a chance that Seattle might be going after Bijan.
That wouldn't surprise me because like a young defense, a quarterback that I mean, he's not. Geno Smith is good, but like I don't know, dude. To see it for 2 years in a row with tape and everything. I mean, they've had tape before, but in this offense, I don't know.
I hope he doesn't go there for the fantasy value. I hope he doesn't go there for the fantasy value because it'll definitely cut into both values of Kenneth Walker and Johnson if Bijan goes.
Yeah, and speaking of offense and running game and everything, Austin Blythe, their center, 95% snaps played, 31 years old. He's only making $4 million a year, and they still haven't re-signed him. So if I was Seattle, I would want to re-sign a 31-year-old center that played 95% of the snaps for me last year and had a pretty decent running game.
And their other center, the backup Kyle, went to Denver. They did get
kind of scary.
They did get Yvonne Brown, the guard from the Lions. He's probably one of the better guards for the Lions, and they were able to take.
Oh, that's what they did.
But yeah, their offensive line pretty much stays intact. They didn't really lose. I mean, looks like they lost maybe one important person, and then they got a guard. But it looks like, knowing Pete Carroll, they're probably going to stick on the defensive side of the ball, and try to get that Legion of Boom back in Seattle.
Dang, Jason. But seriously though, like they picked up the Lions had an amazing, top 6 offensive line last year, and they picked up their center who's 27 years old, plays 67% of snaps. Seattle, historically has been a kind of a good center place. I just think of Sean Hutchinson. I know he played for the Vikings as well, but I think he played for Seattle too. But yeah, dude, I think that I should have looked at that down. I was just going down the list as far as like, whatever age and percentage snaps goes. I think that's going to be a huge signing for them. Evan Brown, no wonder they're not re-signing their center that actually, played a lot of snaps last year. They're bringing in Evan Brown off an amazing offensive line. Dang, man. So so Kenneth Walker is staying there. I mean, I don't think he's worth where he's being drafted, but he's still up there.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I just said. Like they're not really not doing too much on the offensive line. They did get one of the better guards from the Lions, which is going to improve, but they didn't really. It's not like they lost multiple people or gained a lot of people. They're still going to have the same probably rapport in that offensive line. I can see them probably still, going after defense, because once again, they don't need. I mean, other than the rumor that they might go after the running back, like is Pete Carroll going to be that coach? Is going to be like, hey, we have Kenneth Walker here. Why don't we go ahead and get Bijan Johnson and run a big 1-2 punch? I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, and all you can hope for Rashad Penny is that he stays healthy, and you'll get a steal in the draft, dude.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, there's a lot of reports because the Eagles have a high pick that they're going to get Bijan Robinson or so. After this, I mean, we're gonna really dive deep into the skill positions after this draft. But yeah, dude, until then, we're not gonna really know. We can only assume. And but if it went down the way it should be, dude, like Rashad Penny could be huge over there.
Yeah, high risk, high reward. Do you want to go to the beat writers?
See. All right, so beat writers, Jason,
Yeah.
for the Seattle last word on sports, which is stupid. Seattle Seahawks, I thought would have some amazing thing. No, edge rusher. So Bruce Irvin, like, I mean, that was great and everything, but like they need, like, they've got the back end kind of figured out young. Now they need to get their interior defensive lineman and out, specifically edge rusher, young again and effective. So, they're trying to say hopefully they might trade up to get Will Anderson or Texas Tech's Tyree Wilson would be solid additions, but like they're not going to get. I've heard about so much about Will Anderson. They're not going to get Will Anderson, but Tyree Wilson's a real possibility.
Very interesting. This kind of goes for how the free agency's been played out for the Seattle Seahawks, because you said they go younger, and they haven't re-signed Shelby Harris, their defensive tackle, who is 31 years old. So,
well, speaking of defensive tackle, Jason, I mean, like you said, right now that's their number next need. So we talked about that Woods guy who I love, man, like just resign the fool, and the other dude that's old. So it's like I knew that they're two. I remember watching a game and they're like talking about their interior defensive linemen being like 70 years old combined or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So like, but I was like, dude, Alex Woods is amazing, or whatever. Al Woods, I call him Alex Woods, because we know each other on a personal level. We play Apex together.
Right.
Dragon Wizard, call up. If you want to watch people die repeatedly, just follow me on nothing.
Well,
so yeah, dude. Interior. We talk about like this day in the NFL. Interior defensive line. Chris Jones. Who's the Darnold dude on the Rams?
Aaron Donald.
Thank you. That's like super important against these like amazing quarterbacks that went. Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes and all these people. Interior pressure is really important, so that's what they need.
Yeah, they're going to have to do it too, because we saw what Brock Purdy's doing for the Niners. They're going to have to find a way to get that interior pressure on him.
And then lastly, Jason, wide receiver, which is funny because they have Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf under contract, but they're just saying other than that, that's it, dude. Like, like they're both actually played like a full season last year almost, and they are both like super injury prone. So it just scares all these beat writers.
I'm pretty sure that they are just wanting probably like a slot wide receiver, maybe a third, because Marquise Goodwin, he's gone.
Marquise Goodwin and then Dwayne Eskridge, like 7
Who?
receptions for. He had Dwayne Eskridge had 7 receptions for 58 yards, and that's it, dude.
Yeah, that dude just sounds like a nursery rhyme villain that I would tell my kid if I had one. Like, I don't even know who that dude is. So
Dwayne, and then, the princess had an amazing toy, and then Dwayne Eskridge came in and stole it.
Yes, and destroyed all the Legos and yarn. Yeah, I don't know.
Yarn?
Yeah, yarn. Don't kids like to play with yarn? I don't know.
I know cats do.
Young kids are like cats. Other than pooping in cat boxes or pooping in diapers, same stuff. But yeah, that's the one thing I could think of. They lost, they have no names after Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. So,
all right, people.
I see why that's why they're going after a wide receiver.
Yeah. So next coming up, we're going to the LA Rams. Dude, believe it or not, they won the Super Bowl the year before last.
You would not have guessed that.
And dude, and their coach is so cool. He wears glasses at the coaches meeting and then takes a picture. It's crazy. So anyways, we will be right back with the Rams. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
You almost heard Jason say the B word. Let's do this B word. And I said, okay, don't hurt me, Jason. Don't hurt me.
My B word is Baker Mayfield.
We're not talking about the freaking Oh yeah, you know what? The Rams. We are talking about the Rams.
That's why I said it.
So we're talking about the Rams now. We just talked about the Seattle Seahawks and then the 49ers. We're covering the NFC West today, going from the top down in order because that's what you deserve. But anyways, so first off, Jason, we're going to talk about free agency. You ready for that?
Yeah, and you said it before we went into break. You would not think this team won the Super Bowl the year before. They were known for their defense the year they won the Super Bowl. Not last year. They were what I have at 26 in the league in rushing yards per game. They gave up near 100, 97.7 yards a game in rushing. And then I was going over their fantasy or their NFL free agency, Tyler, and this is the craziest thing because I'm like, okay, well their defense wasn't great last year. They're going to need to do some changing. So let's see what happens. Well, first, cornerback Jalen Ramsey, they got traded to the Dolphins, right? He outie. Oh, then inside linebacker Bobby Wagner, he went to the Seahawks. In the division. Defensive tackle Greg Gaines, he went to the Buccaneers. Oh, safety, the safety Taylor Rapp. Oh, he went to the Bills. Their other safety Nick Scott, he went to the Bengals. I'm like, what? Did you guys pick up anybody on your defensive side? Let me see. I can't compute because it didn't happen. No, they did not. They lost more players in free agency on the defensive side. It didn't really pick up anybody on the defensive side. The only thing I could think of is like they are going pure defense in the draft because they could not stop the run last year, and then they let go a lot of their main players.
So
This
depending on who
organization is just so confusing to me in the last year and a half.
So you just said, so the biggest one is Jalen Ramsey, like you said. And if you listen to the people that know what they're talking about, apparently, they said that he actually played pretty well this last season. Like, yeah, he got burned on some plays, but like they played him everywhere. He's so versatile. It wasn't like he was playing his lockdown, like one side or whatever. So I think that he is a really big pickup for the Dolphins, with Xavier, the guy from the Vikings, X Factor, and Byron
Howard.
Yeah, Xavier Howard and like Byron Jones. I don't even know if the Byron Jones is back yet, but still,
He's not playing for them no more.
there you go. So they needed somebody.
Yeah.
I think it's a big pickup for the Dolphins. I mean, I like that pickup. And then they have not re-signed Leonard Floyd, who's been there. I mean, Super Bowl year and everything. I mean, he's a pretty good edge rusher, really. He played 85% of snaps, but he is old, making $16 million a year. So that's probably why they don't want it. Maybe once like after the draft, this is a good draft for edge rushers. Maybe come back to Floyd and be like, hey, whatever. See how much money you don't want to make. And Bobby Wagner, we already talked about that. Going over to the Seahawks, this team couldn't stop, a runny nose last season. So, like, why would you even want to keep anybody? But Jason, I do want to say all the reports are saying that because you're saying that you believe that they're going to go heavy defense.
Yeah.
They're saying that Sean McVay was threatening retiring or coming back and saying that he needs to go all offense. This needs to be an offensive team. So, like, maybe they're going to go one or two defense, but I kind of almost believe this because Sean McVay is known for offense. He's getting surpassed by everybody, dude. Their offense was so bad last year. Like, he needs to reestablish himself as like an offensive genius or whatever. I can see them going offense in the draft.
I mean, yeah, known as Sean McVay because he is offensive head coach. I mean, can you go wrong by getting any player in the draft for this Rams team? There are so many holes that they need filled, so many gaps they needed, so many voids they need closed. They could go pretty much either way. I mean, even the running back, Tyler, are they going to keep Cam Akers? Are they going to trust Cam Akers as their number one next
Dude,
year?
I literally like Cam Akers is like top of third round right now. And I'm like, did you guys watch what I just watched? Like, what is happening here? I don't understand what's going on.
That dude wanted out last year. Yeah, he had good games there at the end. I don't know what's what's really working. Baker Mayfield, the savior for that Monday Night Football game, I think it was, or Sunday Night Football game. They even let him go. He went to the Buccaneers, but that was kind of like you kind of figured you would that was going to happen because they have Stafford still. Last year they were 27th in the league in passing yards per game. They only did like 182 yards per game. I mean, there's just so much here that you need to fix. I mean, even their other cornerback, Troy Hill, he he's not even signed. He's in limbo right now. And of course, like Odell Beckham, he's gonna go somewhere else. Obvi. But there's just so many question marks for this team, and it's like they could literally just pick up anybody, be an improvement.
Yeah, so as far as defensive free agents go, we talked about those two. I think Leonard Floyd, Jalen Ramsey, that kind of. Oh, and what's his name, Bobby Wagner. I mean, that's the three that you're really paying attention to. So it was kind of they're trying to mix in like veterans with some young players, and now it just didn't work out for them. So they're just going to totally reset with young players. Like I said, I think they're going to go heavy offense because they want to keep Sean McVay happy, which I would too, man. I'd be like, hey, dude, Sean McVay, what do you want? Like
Yeah.
I don't care, dude. So Jason, but I do want to say, like, they re-signed going to the offense. They re-signed their center. Brian Allen. He only played 36% of snaps. But I mean that was enough. And then who else? I just saw like they
Coleman
re-signed.
Shelton.
Yeah, was it Shelton? They re-signed a bunch of offensive linemen. Yeah, Shelton, 70% of snaps, 28 years old. So it's like the offensive line, I guess, that they saw some promise from. They probably started to gel with Brian Allen later in the season. The re-signing, but like if I was them, the number one thing I'd be thinking about is offensive line, offensive line, offensive line.
Yeah, because their other guard, David Edwards, went to Buffalo. So I mean, and even the kicker was like bye, and then went to Indy. You know, their safety, Nick Scott. I don't know if I already said that, but yeah, Nick Scott went to the Bengals. This team, I, they have to be, man. They have to be in the rebuild, um, in the rebuild time for them because there's just too much. This was the downfall, right? We saw this for the years before. They were giving up players. They were giving up draft picks. They were going all in.
F them picks, man. F them picks.
I never saw a team go more all in on trying to win a Super Bowl than the LA Rams. They won the Super Bowl. Now they don't have crap. They don't have players. They don't have money. They don't have draft picks, and we are seeing that. Now we're seeing the downfall. Rather than Sean McVay likes it or not, they are in a rebuild. They are not going to compete with the Seattle Seahawks or the San Francisco 49ers. They are going to compete with the Arizona Cardinals of who's going to have a better draft pick for the following season.
Yeah, and so like remember everybody was like, oh, the Rams model. It's like the Buccaneers model. It's like just go all in, go all in. Yeah, well, you're seeing where this gets you, dude. The Buccaneers are now like condemned for the next 10 years. And same thing with the Rams could pull it around because they actually have a Sean McVay. But still, dude, like they're not going to be dominant anytime soon. And Aaron Donald's like is going to retire pretty soon, so they need to get an edge rusher, dude. They need to pair him up with somebody. But they also need so much offense. So it's just kind of like, what do you do? This is a good draft for wide receivers and running backs and edge rushers. I would draft all three if I was them.
Yeah, because right now their best player, I mean, Aaron Donald, he's a beast. Everyone's going to future Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. He's getting up there in age, Tyler. He's getting up there in age. How much more is he going to have? How much impact is he going to have on plays now with his age? He's already getting double teamed every single time. Cooper Kupp, right? Cooper Kupp is still the main guy, but if you can't have a healthy quarterback like Matthew Stafford to even throw him the ball, how effective is this guy going to be? And then Cooper Kupp himself, then they shut him down because he had like a broken foot or something like that. Like, I think next year is going to be a little bit different. I still think they're probably going to end up third in that division, but they're not going to be winning divisions anytime soon.
All right, so let's go into the the beat writers, what they're saying. and the Rams wire. These people have crappy names other than the first name. I can't remember that. The 49 or something. Outside linebacker. So they want somebody to go behind. And this is the same thing I'm talking about. This is like an edge rusher pretty much. So like Floyd, they're like, oh, Leonard Floyd's the only lock to start outside and at outside linebacker in 2023. Well, dude, they haven't even resigned him yet. So they're just so up in limbo in defense. They need to fill in their linebackers and get somebody, like I said, an edge rusher. Some people around, they need to replace Bobby Wagner, dude. That's inside linebacker, but still, I'm just saying linebackers in general, man. Get people behind Aaron Donald and pair him up with somebody up front that he can get some pressure with.
Yeah. Yeah. You got, one person can make a difference. You double team. Part of the reason why you can double team Aaron Donald because you're not afraid of anybody else on that defensive line. Little doggy.
Doggy, trying to eat permanent markers.
Oh, he's trying to live that high life.
So you want to get high? You want to get high? You want to go eat some permanent markers? You want to get high?
Get high?
So,
Mr.
well, dude, if you want to get high, just come into my garage. So, smoking fatties, rolling fatties, blah, 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 blah. Number two is tight end, Jason. Dude, how many people picked up Tyler Higbee this last season and was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever done. This is the best pick I've ever made.
Yeah.
So when Matthew Stafford was healthy, dude, Tyler Higbee was amazing, but
maybe they're thinking about depth now, and this is like kind of a big. You could get probably like 4 or 5 good tight ends out of this draft. I mean, we'll see.
I know there's two that are top end because the Cowboys are not going to be in position to take them. I remember that because we're talking about how they got rid of Dalton Schultz, and then there's two tight ends that you really want to target this season.
Yeah, one is like Mayers from Notre Dame.
There you go. I was going to get really into the draft on our draft episode.
Yeah. But tight ends usually take a couple years before they really stand out players. So
usually tight ends a third year.
So maybe they're trying to think of the future. Like in 3 years, Tyler Higbee, he'll probably be a nobody. Nobody will like him, and they'll have like some tight end that they can replace at that time.
And they're like, oh, and their beat writers are like, you know what, Tyler Higbee is yards per catch has decreased every single year in the last 2 years. It's like, dude, that's a small sample size. And like his targets went up. Like, talk about his targets, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, if you catch a lot more balls, they're probably not going to be all deep. So Tyler Higbee was a great pick.
Do they not remember the quarterback problems they had last year?
Yeah, I know, dude. Some of these beat writers are just like living in fantasy land, Jason, where we live,
Right.
This is our zone.
This
you need to get back into reality. We are something fantasy.
Let me be your fantasy life. Yeah.
All right. Number 3, Jason. This would be my number 1, offensive line. So, we talked about these dudes. There's a bunch of nobodies. I mean, ever since they lost Andrew Whitworth, they picked up the young tackle or the young center from Detroit, which is probably going to be good, but they need to fill in everything else and get depth there.
Yeah, one thing you need to do is open up lanes for your running back and keep your quarterback upright, and that's something they could not produce last year. And I have followed your lead on most of these. It's all about the offensive line, right? You can have the greatest quarterback in the world, but if you can't give him time to throw the ball, it doesn't even matter. So
I was like, what is that from? That's from Beer Fest. The greatest beer in the world.
Yeah.
Hey, man, if you haven't watched Beer Fest and you like to drink, go watch Beer Fest. You're probably going to drink a keg to yourself. You'll be like,
right,
I could be like that guy.
You got to play the drinking game. You got to drink every time they say beer.
Jason's family probably has like deep roots in that. He could have been in that film as a German guy.
We're producers.
All right, so Jason, that's all I have.
All right.
So when we come back, we're going to be talking about tiny little Kyler Murray. He's so tiny. He likes to run around with his little legs and throw his ball with his little arms. But the ball is regular size, so dude, guess what? Your hands look so small on that big ball.
You make that football look large, man. That's what I tell my wife. Anyway,
when you
let's
got
cut
one
it right
ball,
now.
when you got one ball, that thing looks huge, dude.
Damn.
Oh, sorry, I need to readjust my because I got one ball. Woo!
Yeah, you might have to go searching for it because it gets sucked up. Let me pull it out real quick.
No, like got sucked up into like the universe because it's near the stratosphere.
Yeah.
All right, when we get back.
Okay.
Hey, good thing we're cutting this short, Jason, because it's already getting crazy.
I know.
We're going to talk about the Cardinals. So, BRB. What's up, people? We're still drinking. We're still talking about the football. And our next up is the Arizona Cardinals. So, we know all that the Arizona Cardinals underperformed last year. They're like, who are we going to fire? The coach, the general manager, the coach, the general manager? Maybe both. No, it was just the general manager. Because what's his name? Kyler Murray came out with that, list of demands in the beginning of the year and still played terrible. Got a new contract, played terrible. DeAndre Hopkins was injured and out on suspension for a lot. Jason, I think you owned him, right?
I own DeAndre Hopkins, and I drafted him even with his suspension. But when he came back, he kind of killed it for me.
He was amazing.
He did miss one game, I think. But then also when Murray went down because that blade of grass made him tear his ACL, he was kind of like game over. I don't think I really started him much after that because he didn't have Kyle Murray throwing the ball, so he was on the bench. But Tyler, they ended up getting a new head coach this offseason.
Yeah, he's a defensive coordinator for the Eagles, or is he the offensive coordinator?
Oh, I think he's a defensive coordinator for the Eagles. He
Which is pretty
replaced
crazy.
Cliff Kingsbury, who went 28-37 in his time there at the Cardinals. But yeah, and then they go and get a defensive coordinator from the Eagles. You know, they're like, "Oh man, your defense is awesome. We need that coach. We need that coach."
Did you guys hear about the Cardinals defense? Oh my God. Get their coaches here now. Said nobody ever,
Right.
Right. Maybe after the Super Bowl with Kurt Warner. Oh.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
Kyle Murray's probably not going to start off with the season too, so you could probably think that in the early quarter of the seasons they're going to have like guaranteed losses.
yeah, Jason, and so like I'm looking through their free agency right now. They had a wide receiver called Chosen Anderson, dude. He's 30 years old, making $15 million a year. Have you ever heard of Chosen Anderson?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Robbie Anderson.
Oh my God.
He changed his name to Chosen.
I was like, who is this dude that's 30 years old making $15 million a year? Robbie Anderson with the hair.
Yeah.
Good for
Yeah.
you, dude. Because, hey, good for you.
Yeah. When you
Let me give you a thumbs up because you made so much money off of like mediocrity, like, oh my God, dude.
He's like, maybe if I change my name, I could keep my salary. They won't know who I am.
I should know that, but I was like, who's Chosen Robinson? How is he 30 years old making so much money? And I've never heard of him. Like, that's like impossible.
Because I can run fast. They like me because I run fast.
Man, get Forrest Gump out there and do the same goddamn thing.
I was running. I don't know if you know this, Tyler, but they needed somebody to do a stunt double for Tom Hanks and Forrest Gump when he was running, and they used his brother.
Yeah, his brother is the marathon running. Not, maybe it was the running overall. Like even though football.
I think it was no. I think it was like the marathon where I was running.
Yeah, his brother's a lot more heavy, and my mom was like, "Oh, didn't you notice how heavy he was when he's running?" I was like, "I didn't notice. I was like 7 years old when my dad took me to watch that movie. I didn't understand so much of that movie because I was 7 or whatever the hell I was."
Yeah, it wasn't until I took health class freshman year that I'm like, "Oh, okay, they're talking about AIDS. I get it."
Dude, Ginny is such a.
Oh, I hate her. I hate her.
Jenny, I'm gonna wait to get with you till the very end, and then you're gonna give me a life killing disease, and whatever, dude. Maybe even give it to our kid who has it too. That's great. That's just great.
2 peas in a
2
pod.
peas in a pod.
So, Tyler, they did bring over a defensive coordinator from the Eagles. The Eagles had one of the best defenses in the league last year. So we're like, you know what? He's going to go over here and help Zach Allen on his defensive end for the Arizona Cardinals. Nope. He went to Denver. Oh, we talked about this earlier. Byron Murphy, the cornerback, he went to Minnesota. So this guy's actually losing their star players on defense before he's even getting a chance to coach.
I do want to say that when I listen to Rich Eisen and stuff, that he signed off on losing those defensive players before it happened. So I do want to say, like, oh my God, my dog's almost knocked over my light. They're fighting right now. But I do want to say that, like, when this kind of stuff happens, people are like, oh man, they're totally undercutting the coach. I almost guarantee the coach was involved in this. Like, oh, let me look at some film. You guys could save this amount of money on this person, this amount of money on this person. Like, we don't need this person. I'm going to draft this people or try to sign these people. So
I would have tried to keep Zach Allen, but yeah.
Well, they went out and signed that cornerback from Rashad Fenton from the from the Falcons. So, like, it looks like he identified a Packers linebacker he liked. He's identifying like players from other teams, a Lions linebacker he liked, 27 years old, just stuff like that. But I think that it's a new coach type of thing.
Yeah, I think this Fenton guy used to play for. He was like the #1 cornerback for the Chiefs for quite a while.
I want to say that Fenton, all that. Wait, fentanyl ain't all.
Don't put that word on. Don't put that drug on here, man. That's killing people left and right, especially in the Pacific Northwest.
Dude, that's just what the Coolio came out. That's what he went down from. So
yeah, well, okay, so he's going to have to start all over. He's even got JJ Watt gone. JJ Watt's retired.
He cried. He cried and walked out the door. He's like, I love the video you guys made of me. I'll see you tomorrow. Because we're some bad dudes.
I actually saw that. They did pick up a defensive end from Dallas, who's 29 years old. Carlos Watkins.
Good. You know anything about him?
Yeah, good riddance. Now he's mediocre. He's not the best. It got to a point where he was getting replaced by DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons when he was getting in there. He was more of a fill-in player. There were some times where he really made a difference, but he was more of a fill-in player. He's almost 30 years old, so let him
more
go.
More than a feeling. Woo!
That tonight's gonna be the best night, something like that. And that that's pretty much it on the defensive side. They re-signed Antonio Hamilton. And he said the Fenton. They got Josh Woods from Detroit Lions. They got that linebacker from him to help out the linebacker core a little bit. But so on the other side of the ball, it looks like they were targeting a lot on the line, which they should. They should do this. They got Will Henderson. They re-signed him, 27 years old. Left tackle,
dude.
Yeah,
he's 34 years old, getting playing 97% of snaps. And I just want to say, like, that's what you and I were talking about. Like, it's like, yeah, dude, old people can still play interior defensive line and offensive line. So I'm sure Beecham was probably their top offensive lineman last year. And they're like, what are we going to do with him? They have to sign him.
Yep. And then it's funny that I'm seeing this right here. Okay, I just had it. Tackle Dennis Daly from Tennessee. They signed him. And it's funny because you mentioned a couple of weeks ago that the Tennessee Titans had like the worst offensive line. And it looks like I can't wait till we do the Tennessee Titans because I want to see this. They're just letting all their defensive linemen go. They're just letting them go. Like, y'all sucked. We're going to rebuild this offensive line for Derrick Henry as long as we still have him. right? Am I right? And we'll see what happens. But I've seen
Well,
so many teams pick up linemen from the Tennessee Titans, and they had one of the worst offensive lines last year.
and all I've heard is that the Titans want Anthony Richardson, so they want to pair Anthony Richardson with they want Tannehill to start still, but he's like 36. If you know anything about Tannehill, he probably shouldn't be playing anymore at 36. But
Yeah,
like he was a great quarterback. I mean, I talked about him last year, dude. He was like, if you watch some of the stuff, he's amazing. He just gets injured.
yeah.
Could you imagine Anthony Richardson, dude? He's like 6'4", like 250, 4.4, 4, whatever it is. With Derrick Henry, like that would be amazing. But we already saw this movie before with Malik Willis, dude. Malik Willis was so rough. So I don't
Dude,
know. I just think that's all kind of crazy your talk right
I
now.
mean, I'm sure we're gonna have our own little, free or NFL pre-draft when the time comes. Anthony Richards is. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens to Anthony Richards. If they draft him, that's crazy because they got a rookie last year in Wilkins.
And they don't have the offensive coordinator or quarterbacks coach that are developing anybody of any significance. So I wouldn't trust them anyways.
And don't get me wrong, I think Anthony Richards can be potentially a good quarterback, but I think he needs to go to the right team. And I'm not sure if the Titans are the right team, but I still feel like he could be a fantasy factor because, yeah, I'm telling you, I hate to say this, but he reminds me a lot of Cam Newton coming out of Auburn.
Yeah, I know. And Cam Newton, like he was the greatest college quarterback of like all time. But like, so it's not really fair comparing them. But like physically, I can understand that. And
Yeah.
then Jason, we're on offense, right?
Yeah. That
Tracy
was
Tracy McSorley, they have not re-signed, which he's a totally opposite of what he's not a Kyler Murray type. He's not a mobile quarterback and all that kind of stuff. But he's been there forever, dude. 27 years old, making league minimum. There's nothing there. Anything
yeah.
else stand out to you on offense?
So I mean, what else? I mean, I was more talking about their line, because they re-signed tackle Joshua Miles, but in the honorable free agency, they got Robbie Anderson, Chosen Anderson, JJ Watt. They got Justin Pugh, their guard. He's 32 years old.
Darrell Williams, dude, who was man. It just goes to show you, go play for the Chiefs, and look how the running lanes are. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like he was only 28 years old, but like he was a nobody, and they're like Darrell Williams. Oh my god, did you see him in the playoffs? And then he comes over here and does nothing. That's why I'm like, I'm not drafting any running backs from the Chiefs this year. Like, yeah, Isaiah Pacheco. Did you see him? At least Isaiah Pacheco was like huge and fast, you know. But Darrell Williams looked amazing when he was on the Chiefs, so it's just kind of hard to say.
there's been quite a few times where I started when I had a Darrell Williams as the running back. I'm pretty sure he's horrible at blocking. That's the only thing I can think of because I think his yards per carry and he could catch the ball. He was pretty good. Um, yeah, so that's pretty much it for the offensive side. I think, honestly, when it comes to like draft or free agency, like yeah, it looks like they have some issues on the offensive line, but when you got ran over as much as he did, you gotta look at the defense. But I'm also like maybe look at a running back position or a wide receiver position, right? AJ Green,
Dude,
he ain't
DeAndre
green,
Hopkins.
he ain't green no more. I do red.
Ah!
He a vet. He a vet now. So
He's
I
like
think
dark. He's aged, man.
you know. So
I can't believe
yeah,
I can't believe he's still on this team, dude.
yeah,
It must be his last year of the contract. So,
gotta
all
be.
right, Jason, into the beat writers. Number one need edge rusher. So, I mean,
AJ Watt being gone.
JJ Watt, and then they lost like what, Chandler Jones or whatever. I don't know, something like that. John Jones's brother, who I just saw.
They lost Jones like a couple years before.
Where did he go? Did he go? He didn't go to the Saints, did he?
I think he went to the Raiders. I could be wrong, but I think he went to the
Okay,
Raiders.
he was amazing for a long time, but not anymore. Number two, sticking with the defense, dude, cornerback. So Byron Murphy needs to resign in the offseason.
He
Odds
went to
are
the
he will.
he went to the Vikings.
Exactly. So I'm just saying, like, it's like these guys are like, oh man, like these are the number 2 need as long as we resign this guy. Well, guess what, dude? This guy didn't even resign. So just another thing, dude. Like they need so much. Like their skill positions on offense are good. They need offensive linemen and all defense. And they brought in the Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator for a reason. Mm-hmm. So I would assume that edge rusher and cornerback are going to be his first things. Patrick Peterson, he went over to the Vikings, did okay. Now I think he went to the Jason. Did he go to the Eagles? I can't remember where he went. Steelers. Thank you. Yeah, Steelers. He might do all right with them because the Steelers have an actual defense. The Vikings had a faux defense. That means fake for all the people that didn't know. What's up, faux?
What's up, faux?
And then Jason, number 3, offensive line. So they should be set at left tackle with DJ Humphries, and Josh Jones can be bookended to the right side. But that's like every other position, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I would say this was a situation where they needed to protect their quarterback because he got injured last year, but he did that on a scramble.
Loser.
Scramble to the left side instead of the right side, homie.
You're like 5'11", and you're not nice. Loser.
Yeah, what was he like yelling at the coach the other day? He's like, calm the F down.
Dude, and I totally agree with him because like Cliff Kingsbury was like, oh my god. And he's like
all freaking out.
Yeah, and it's just like, hey. Like Kyler Murray's like high all the time. He's like 50 Cent, man. He's like, hey man, what we need to do here is not freak out. That's the one thing we need not to do is freak out.
Let me throw it to Hopkins real quick. Yeah, the offensive line, it's got to be more for like, running schemes and stuff because Arizona was 22nd. They're in the bottom quarter of the league with only doing 110 yards a game, and a quarter to nearly half of that was Kyler Murray running. So I can see that. Give James Conner the ball, let him get 100 yards rushing a game. Let's see it.
How do you feel about James Conner this year, Jason?
It's another year under his belt. I know it was like 2 years ago where people drafted him very late, not expecting much of anything, and then this dude was getting like 1 or 2 touchdowns a game, and you're like, holy crap, I need to get him again. They drafted him again this last season, regressed a little bit. I think he's going to regress a little bit more. Like maybe around 2 to 3 touchdowns less. I don't know what he ended up with, but that Broncos organization is just
7 touchdowns.
I think he might get like 5 or 6 touchdowns.
And he had like 3 touchdowns almost at the end of the season. He had like, 3 touchdown games in a row. But dude, it's just like, you saw the drop off. He kind of had the outlier season where, oh my god, dude, he's like a Jamal Williams. He's kind of like that Jamal Williams type. Like really, he is. Like they could, the Saints could have signed James Conner and it would have been the same to me as Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
So like, if he's my running back 3, I'm happy. If he's my running back 2, I'm kind of scared. And it's kind of crazy because last year he was being drafted as a running back 1 pretty much.
Right, because the year that he had before that where he just went crazy. But the Cardinals in general were not the same team as they were the previous year. And James Conner was one of the main people to fill from that. And then, they're letting some running backs go. Maybe they try to aim for that in this draft. I know they got to go after that offensive line first. They got to go after the offensive line. Open up some holes, some gaps in the A and B gap for these guys to be able to run through.
The only bat I've ever seen run is named Bruce
Wayne.
Hey, you think we fake laugh at each other? We don't. We're like, Tyler, Jason, that was a lame joke. I'm gonna stare at this camera menacingly. All right, guys. So we made it this far. You understand that this was the shortest show. This was Jason and I, mostly Jason, I was thinking about it though after last season. We said we had to get this thing shorter because we were way too drunk for the Jets last season.
Oh, the Jets was just a mess. Oh man.
I give it a. Do you think he should? This is me. This is me being a Joaquin Phoenix. Russell Crowe needs to die. Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah. Are you not entertained?
I'll stab you in the chest and then I'll fight you.
Yeah. Then it's even.
You want to fight me? I'll stab you in the chest first, dog.
I am the survivor of a murdered daughter, of a murdered wife. I can't remember his name. It's like
Maximus. Artillus.
Maximus.
And man, that guy is like never aging. The black dude right there next to him.
I know.
He played like in all the Thors. He looked amazing. I was like, oh my god, dude. Russell Crowe's like fat and ugly, and this guy is like freaking like still doing action movies, the same crap he was already doing.
No.
But that guy's an amazing actor. I think he played in Shazam too.
Russell Crowe just got his money. He's like, dude, I'm chilling. He's like, I'm chilling.
He's like, I'm drinking with the fantasy football and show. I don't know about this dude over here.
Every Friday, dude, I watch them. I disagree with everything they say, but I'm drinking with them.
You should watch the South Park thing on Russell Crowe. It's pretty funny. He literally, like Jason, when he was young, like he literally got in like news articles about him fighting people all the time. Like he beat people up all the time.
He's English, right?
He's Australian.
Oh, he's Australian. Oh, yeah, he fought Chris Hemsworth, man.
You're just like beating people up. That's how I want to be known. But you know what? If I can make money this way, that's cool too.
Yeah.
We're not making any money, people. So if you want to donate to us, just let us know.
Yeah, donations would be great.
All right, people. So thank you so much for watching. This is the Fantasy Football and Show. And if you made it this far, you are a true fan. So
thank you.
Like, dude, if you want to meet up with us, we'll meet up with you. It's okay if you want to come to the West Coast. We'll
meet up in Bend, Oregon. That's like the halfway point.
That's not no. You're meeting up here because Jason's driving a long ways. So... I only drank 4 beers tonight, which is good. Jason? 5. All right. So anyways, if you want to tune into Drinking with Apex, I think it's on stream. We're gonna be cussing, we'll be cussing a lot and stuff. I imagine I'll be playing. I don't know. My wife was acting all crazy. I don't know if I was gonna play. Hopefully we don't. I shouldn't have said that out loud.
And I'll be drinking some more.
Dang, dude. I don't hear anything in response, so I think I'm okay.
Yeah, you made it. You survived.
Hopefully you see me there. So anyways, I'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
And we will go. We'll catch you on the flip side.
The dark side of the moon.
Maybe.